three basic parts. First one, the new issue market try to identify the feasibility and authenticity of the organization. Then the second, new issue market wants to make the valuation of the product, that means underwriting. And the third one is new issue market wants to make the product sell into the market according to the requirement. So this is what the new issue market. But further issue how to make further issues. Further issues are made in stock exchange. That means second time issuing of securities, it will came to the secondary market, stock market, that is new issue market. Give me 1 minute, let me reach to that particular portion. I think floating methods be move functions circular new issue market, features, functions. So there are two more concepts left. One is called private placement and one more is called protection of the investors. Now, what is private placement? Private placement, a private placement is a sell of stocks or sell of shares or sell of bonds, whatever you want to say, to pre-selected investors and institutions rather than on an open market. It is an alternative to an initial public offering, that is IPO, for the company seeking to raise the capital for the expansion. Investors normally invested or invited to participate to the private placement program, including wealthy individual investors, banks, to other financial institutions like mutual fund, insurance, companies, or pension funds. These are being invited to buy the products. First case, then I will give you a clear explanations. As the name suggests, a private placement is a private alternative to issuing or selling or publicly offered securities as a means of raising capital. And in a private placement, both the offering and sale can be debt and equity is being offered to the businesses. Now try to understand what is private placement. Now our previous portion what is new issue market. And as the functions of the new issue market, it is being divided into three parts. New issue market function into different parts divided. First part, where new issue market try to make a evaluation of a new company's authenticity. The new company jo mane nija product open karya in the general market. So how to one has to identify the authenticity of the product, of the company, of the company's owner, of the company's balance sheet, 5 years audited balance sheet, joti ki konosi prakara apanakara memo issue hi nathibo. The company must have the initial capital of 5 crore rupees. Jodi 5 koti tankara apanakara initial capital thibo, tahale apan tara 60% share open karpare market re, which is all about 3 lakhs rupees. So it is a minimum required 3 crore rupees. That means it is a minimum requirement. Gote company ko new issue market through re stock open karibe, share open karibe. So second hela kono na new issue market second kamo hela itala authenticity verification. Second kamo hela to identify the exact floating rate. Identifying the exact floating rate underwriter, which is the second portion of work. Underwriter man ka kamo hela So company रो केते टंकर capital requirement अछि, like it is 1 crore rupees. Company तार केते percent share open करिया को चाहूचे, so what is exactly the company wants to open this share percentage of share? Like company wants to open is only 50% of share. Requirement is 1 crore. So per percent of share को आसिले some lakhs of rupees is being the valuation. लक्षे 50 लक्ष टका दे कोन जण के गुटे शेयर इन्वेस्टमेंट करिवो, नो इट इज द आंसर इज नो. तो आपण कोन करिवे, you have to divide that percentage of share into some unit price values. एटा हला कहा कम न्यू इश्यू मार्केट रो जो अंडरराइटिंग टीम थिबे सेकंड फंक्शन रे तांको कम हला दे हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई की यूनिट प्राइस कोन रहइबो सो दैट पीपल कुड एबल टू अफोर्ड. The third function रहला, that third function is issuing of the securities. Now what is issuing of the securities? Issuing of securities are made through two ways. One is open advertisement, second one is closed advertisement. So जो product ता बिकिबा कामो भी एठी new issue market रो. First वाला से open advertisement करिवो. Open advertisement you can see in TV, sorry paper, you can see it on a virtual media. बहुत जगह personal selling भी करा जाउची. So in that way the product is being issued to the general public. Name is IPO, initial public offering. Second हला कोन ना, जदि IPOs भी अपन open करचंदी, new issue market open करचे, there is no guarantee that 100% shares bank be is going to be sell out. 100% share sell out हे जो बोले अपन पर कोनोसी guarantee नहीं. If there is no guarantee of sell out of 100% shares, अपन कोन करिवे? The options are available that you have to identify some private party. You have to identify some existing buyers. You have to identify some companies, some existing buyers, some QIBs, where you have to approach them to buy the product. अपन सेठी कोन करबे ना, तंको approach करिवे to buy the product. So these approaches will make your selling 100%, buyout, selling or selling out 100% करिवे. सेठी जो अपन invite करले, those are for private placement. So the IPOs which is being invited for selling by the new issue market, and for that new issue market create a pre-selected investors. So that pre-selected investors are all private parties. These pre-selected investors are being identified by the new issue market, and the rest जो आपनकर IPOs बढ़ी जाइची, public offering बढ़ी जाइची, आपनको paper advertisement परे, you want to sell out that products to the private placement for the creation of capital and expansion of the capital. बुझेला? So this is what we call the private placement. आदरे की participant ही परिबे, की invitations नहीं परिबे. The participants are QIBs, qualified institutional buyers. Our key participants are mutual fund organizations, financial institutions, individual corporate houses, banks, insurance company, pension fund. These are some of the participants. Now, whom to sell the new issue market? It is completely sole decision of new issue market. New issue market jaako chahiye batako biki paribo, but the decision, the participants are those kind of institutions. Bujhela, this is what called the private placement. So private placement, the prakar product bikuchi. That means it was selling the equity product and debt product. The prakar product se kiniba tara konosi problem nahi. Some of the debt product re amar kon aschi na, subordinate debt aschi, long debt aschi, term loans aschi, revolving loans aschi, asset bank loans aschi, lease aschi, shifted issues aschi. These are some debt product which is normally available for the private placements. Now, one more concept was there, that was called investor protection. Now, what do you understood by investor protection, and how and why it is required? This is a major question, because in RBI, तमे देखो तो सबू जेते हमरो regulatory authorities अछंती. One regulatory authority is RBI, one is IRDA of India, One major regulatory authority is SEBI. All three regulatory authorities are given their own way of investor protection. ଯେମିତି କି ଆପଣଙ୍କର RBI ନେଇ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ, RBI ର investor protection କେମିତି ହଉଛି ପିଲାମାନେ? How RBI has made their investor protection? Yes, am I audible? Am I audible ପିଲାମାନେ?
RBI बैंक को कोई रखुची कि सीआरआर एसएलआर करी कि किछिटा कैश माने डिपोजिट जो होची सेटा रखिबे स्टॉक रे सब किछि से लोन आकार रे देई परिबेनी
ସେଇଟା ତ ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ, ସେଇଟା ତ time deposits and time liability ଆମେ କହୁଛୁ. But what is investor protection for RBI? That is what my question. ଆପଣ ଯୋଉଟା କହିଲେ ସେଟା secured, bank ତା ନିଜକୁ secure କରୁଛି through CRR SLR. But I am not talking about bank how securing himself. I am asking that what is the pathway of investor protection for RBI? RBI कौन नुआ pathway adopt करची जहाँ द्वारा कि investor protection ता ही परिबो. Have you heard about this ombudsman officers of RBI? ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଶୁଣି ନାହାନ୍ତି? No one? Okay, fine. I will tell you what this ombudsman officer. This concept was introduced in the year of 2012. So what is ombudsman officer and what exactly the work of the ombudsman officer? ଆପଣଙ୍କର internet based transactions ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର 2005 ରୁ ଆମର internet based transactions start ହେଲା. But actually it Indian market ରେ activate ହେଲା in the year of 2010-11. Internet based activity रे कोन आସୁଛି जेमति आपण online payment करूचंती through प्रथमे त हमें मोबाइल ये रु करूथुलो app रु करूथुलो RTGS, NEFT, ACS, online transactions एगुडे जितले आपण करूचंती that is certain there is a chance of your money is being stocked somewhere if the internet connection was not very good or it is fluctuative. जदि आपनकर internet connection fluctuative थिबो तो फिर आपनकर signal clear नथिबो, the money is being stocked at some point which is difficult to trace. So बहुत time रे कोन हुए धर मु गोटे transaction करची to a particular shop to buy something, मो पैसा मो पाखर कटि जाउची, shop पाखरे पहुंचुनी, in between somewhere is the money is there. But as a customer, how you will find out? You got a information, you got a SMS that within 48 working hours, your problem is being sought out. And you'll be happy with that. 48 hours with mo paisa feri asba, I'll be happy. For an example, 48 hours is over. Then more 2 days is over, more 3 days is over, but yet you are not getting your money. Now where to complain? Now to meet this kind of
RBI ombudsman को complain करिया पड़ो.
आपण RBI ombudsman को complain करिवे.
District level रे था, state level रे and national level रे.
हाँ नहीं, प्रति state रे बे रहुचंदी ombudsman officer, even in not in प्रति state, even in आपणकर प्रति head office रे भी ombudsman रहुचंदी. तो तांकर काम हला कोन, they are looking after to the settlement of RBI transactions. RBI रो जिते ट्रांजैक्शन अछि तार सेटलमेंट को तार तांको काम हला सेटलमेंट को लुक आफ्टर करिवे. If you are not getting your money within the prescribed time period what bank is given, then you can complain or register against the transaction against the bank on a particular mail ID, that is bank ombudsman mail ID, where every bank have its ombudsman offices. Apana state head re thae, local head re thae. Then you could visit to them. There is no requirement of visit. Once you get complaint, they can be resolved within 15 days. आर गोटे लिमिट थाए जदि 3 मास भीतर बैंक इन्वेस्टमेंट थ्रू रे भी आपन को प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होउनी ताले बैंक आपन को प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट सहित डे 1 रु नहीं कि जेतिकी दिन पर्यंत आपन को रिजॉल्व हेनी तार गोटे सुध दबो बुझी परछन दिस इज द पेनल्टी टू द बैंक the may be the transacting bank or drawing bank जो बैंक द्वारा भूलटा हेतबो से बैंक को एटा पेनल्टी थाए. So this is what called the bank investment officer for the settlement protection of the investors. Same the IRDA of India also insurance investment semane be introduced करछन in the year of 2015. सेमानकर काम होला कोन सेम जिंस if you are not getting your settlements अपन जदि settlement पाउना हंती ताहले you can make a complaint in the investment officer of the IRDA of India. So our सब state रे गोटे investment officer थांती and you got resolved your problem within 15 working days. So इटा ही गला कोन ना गोटे हमें empty market कथा कहूँ RBI where we are not having any kind of default risk. और एक हमें आउ गोटे market कथा कहूँ which is called the market of IRDA of India जो भी default risk रहते नहीं. But when there is a default risk, there is a fluctuative market, there is a insensitive market, that is a very sensible and very sensitive market which is called SEBI market or stock market. So the investor protection is one of the major criteria for the understanding. एठी आपण investor protection रे कोनोसी investment officer को बसेले हबनी. You have to create an investor protection agency, settlement agency, and there are large number of people who should have to work under this agency. That was called investor protection. Now let's talk about what exactly investor protection is. Investor protection is one of the crucial element of growing security market. It focuses on making sure that investors are fully informed about their purchases, transactions, and the corporate affairs and updates. Various procedures, guidelines, rules, and regulations have been issued in the legislation to protect the investor rights and respond their confidence. So investor protection corona, it will make sure that the investors are fully informed about their purchases. आपण कोण किनुचंती so आपण कोण product किनुचंती it's a debt product, equity product, it's a bond swap, it's a preference products. So what product you are purchasing, you should have to be fully informed and aware about that. About your transactions, also you have to be aware about that. Corporate affairs and updates, if there is any corporate affairs being changes, any updates are being changes, that also being informed to the customers eventually. So that is what called the investor protection. Various procedures, guidelines, rules, regulation have been issued to protect the investors' rights and repose their confidence. So among your customers' rights, investors' right, that now needs to be protected. Now, what are the needs of protection to the investors? Just see this point. Need means you can say what are the different objectives of the protection to the investor. So first one, to install confidence in the investor's mind. So it is very essential that when we are talking about stock market, and when someone will tell you, can you please invest your money in the stock market? The first concept came to your mind as an investor that I am going to face some risk in this market. So it is a risky market. So I am going to face some risk. Now, through this protection, you as a portion of stock market, you could able to give a confidence to the investors that you are not facing a kind of a loss. So you are not facing any kind of default settlement issues. So that is very essential to make investors' mind more protective. Second need is to create a conductive measures for the investment. So what do you understand by conductive measures? Conductive measures means when the transactions is going on, that means in process. When the transaction is going on, you will get your dividend, your assured amount of money with a regular interval. with a regular interval. So that was called conductive measures. What else was the third hella to ensure transparency in dealing? Now, transparency means everything, whatever written, that has to be, in action. That is called transparency. To create a vibrant capital market, the Investor Protection Act is required to regulate the market on a sound lines. So whatever rules, regulations are there, if that was purposefully implemented, that was called sound line. To create discipline in the market and to create accountability amongst the market players and create awareness amongst the investors. For this investor protection is highly required. So, ketna factor achi, what are the different factors that is influence the investor protection? The factors are price raising, insider trading, excessive speculations, lack of transparency, short selling, restricted selling. There are 6 different factors which created issues for the investors, and through the investor protection, these 6 different factors needs to be controlled. आमे कहूँ इन्वेस्टर प्रोटेक्शन थ्रू रे हमरे जो 6टा फैक्टर रोची ताको हमको कंट्रोल करिया पड़िबो. फर्स्ट वन इज कॉल्ड प्राइस रेजिंग. एटा गोटे बहुत माने दिस कांसेप्ट इज अडॉप्टेड बाय द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ओनली टू मेक अ मैनिपुलेशन. कौन है जो प्राइस रेजिंग होची, it is nothing but artificial manipulations of the prices of securities by forming cattles by bulls and bears. They do not allow the market force to demand and supply to play their due roles. These artificial prices create a market wheel in their directions to which innocent investors become victim. कौन एटा बुझंतु, एटा हला कोन प्राइस रेजिंग कोनती कोन ना आर्टिफिशियल मैनिपुलेशंस ऑफ द प्राइसेस. जेमति कि आपन को प्रोडक्ट रो प्राइस आमे केते बेले किणु, गोटे क्वेश्चन हला आदरे आपन बुझे अछि जे आमे केते बेले प्रोडक्ट किणु केते बेले बिकु. देखिबे किनिबाटा सबले हुए केते बेले जेतेबे आपन को लो प्राइस थाए. कोनोसी शेयर और कोनोसी इक्विटी जेतेबे लो प्राइस रे थाए, it was advisable to buy. कोन पई आपन कम पैसा रे किनिबे, and when you buy, after that the price will increase. आपन को पैसा बढ़िबो तापरे तबे बढ़िले कोन हो ना, you got your dividend, आपन को डिविडेंड पाइबे, इंटरेस्ट पाइबे, प्रिंसिपल अमाउंट भी बढ़ी की पाइबे. दैट्स व्हाई लोक माने सबले खुचन से केते बळे कैटर थिबो प्राइस रो, केते बळे बियर फेस थिबो, हमें सेतले इन्वेस्टमेंट करबो. बिकिबो केतले बहुत हाई प्राइस जेतले हे जाउची, बेले बेले प्राइसेस डबल भी हे जाउची. 6 मास रे 3 मास रे आपन 1 लाख टका इन्वेस्टमेंट करछन, सेटा 2 लाख हो जाउची बेले बेले. सो जेतले लोक माने अपेक्षा करछन, व्हेन देयर इज अ बुल फेज, they will sell the product. Got it? Now price raising kono na, through the artificial manipulations company माने कोन करबे, तांका प्रोडक्ट प्राइस ताको सबले हाई रे देखेबे. हाई रे देखेले कोन हैला ना, नॉर्मल जो माने इन्वेस्टर्स थिबे से माने किनिबेनी, and when they will not buy, who will buy किए करबे ना, तांकर इंटरनल से जहा को आइडेंटिफाई करथिबे से माने प्रोडक्ट किनिबे. जेतले प्रोडक्ट रो प्राइस हाई हबो सेते बेले भी इन्वेस्टर्स रो जो इन्वेस्टमेंट अछि, जो प्राइस शेयरिंग अछि, सेटा से माने जनरल पब्लिक सहित करिबेनी. सो दैट the innocent investors become victim in this particular price raising activities. Second कोची कोन, insider trading. Now this refers to the purchase and sale of security by the person who holds sensitive information about the company due to their fraudulent relationship with the company, and in other words, insider get regular profit at the expense of the majority and uninformed investors. तामाने कोन है थर्ड सेकंड कोची insider trading. Insider trading माने मु जानि छी मो कंपनी is going to be pays a huge profit. मु कोन करबी ना, मोर जत्ते एम्प्लॉइज अछंती सेमानु कहबी मो प्रोडक्ट सब किनो, मो शेयर रे इन्वेस्टमेंट करो. So that what happened, my employees get benefited, ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କଣ କରିବି जो allowances ମୁଁ ଦିଏ with any kind of puja allowances or something like Diwali allowances that I will cut down. And what I will say अरे तुमने तो मो प्रोडक्ट रे लाभ पाइछे, so I will not give any kind of this increment and all, because the fraudulent relationship with the company, आपण company सहित गोटे fraudulent relationship रखछन्ती, and से company को कोची ना तार high pricing system अछि, से insider trading ता adopt कोची. Third one कोची excessive speculation. Now what do you understood by speculation? Speculation कोची हमें गोटे hypothetical assumption of a future aspirations. That means what? मो product future रे जे कि बढ़िबो, एटा हला गोटे hypothetical assumptions मु जानिनी, because I only open my shares whether I am getting a huge profit or my company is not getting a huge profit, that I cannot make any kind of a speculation on this day. एटा गोटे future hypothesis, गोटे future assumptions. Excessive speculation always leads to a problem for the investors. आपण जदि excessive speculations करूचंदी, excessive calculation करूचंदी future assumptions को नेकी और hypothesis को नेकी, ताले it will create a problem for the investors, because sometimes investor is being blindfolded because of this speculation. A speculation तांको blindfold करी दिए, so that they could not able to take a proper decision. Next कोची lack of transparency. Those this particular market, I mean, market विषय पढ़छु, that is called stock market, and when we are talking about this stock market, it is one of the market where transparency is highly required. अपन को transparency बहुत दरकार, कारण अपन कौन product price किनुचंदी, and while it is a market of fluctuation, सटी अपन जदि transparency maintain न हो, then how you will deal with. So transparency नथिले, so this particular market रे deal करिया बहुत difficult. So for that, lack of transparency is one of the issue and one of the challenges of this particular market. जेमति कि देखंतु for आपण गोटे प्रोडक्ट रे इन्वेस्टमेंट करूचंती, and आपण सब दिन प्रायतः चेक करूचंती, but बहुत मार्केट रे फ्लक्चुएशंस अछि, and your product केतेबेले 10% hike रे रहउची, केतेबेले 5% low रे रहउची. In this particular time period, you do not able to understood what exactly you should have to adopt. Should sell the product, should retain with the product, should wait for the product, आपण बुझी परनांती. For that you have to take a expert opinion from the market, like गोटे AMC companies हो, और आपनकर गोटे individual broker हो, या तो फिर गोटे brokerage house सहित आपण कथा है कि एटा sort out करिवे. So सबले ये जो market हमें देखु जो because of the high fluctuation, because of the high high fluctuation ही जो, और जो non transparency बहुत time रे था ये product हो ये market रे, that's why the investors are being sometimes face a lots of issues or challenges. How would a major Customer Protection Act is required for this factor, that is called short selling. Short selling कौन बुझो? Short selling refers to selling scripts without owing them by bear cattle, with the anticipation that these shares could not be purchased at the much lesser price in the future when deliver could be actually made. It leads to the extreme volatility of the market. Short selling हला अपन कौन करबे, स्क्रिप्ट गुडा माने जो प्रोडक्ट अछि, या तो फिर अपन कौन कहउचन तको शेयर्स कहउचन. सो शेयर अछि अपन मार्केट रे उतारी देबे, उतार देला परे तको सबले कैटर करिवे बियर प्राइस रे, माने अपन को प्रोडक्ट सबले लो प्राइसिंग रे चलिबे. सो आदर लो प्राइसिंग हेले कोन होबो ना, अपन को लोकन को कम पैसा दबाउ पड़बो. आको आउट के इजी वर्ड रे मु कहउची, धरो मिस्टर एक्स कोटे कंपनी रखची, एंड से कंपनी रे शेयर एक्चुअली शेयर ता ग्रोथ रे अछि, बट आपण सब बेले देखौचंदी कंपनी कोन, कंपनी रो ग्रोथ ता गोटे मिनिमम ग्रोथ रे चलची. बुझी होची, धरो ग्रोथ हला आपण कर 80%, आपण मार्केट को सब बेले 40% ग्रोथ देखौचंदी. आदर कोन हो ना, धरो मिस्टर एक्स रो प्रोडक्ट मु किनिची, मु तार इक्विटी हो, डेप्थ हो, प्रेफरेंस शेयर किछि भी गोटे किनिची, तो मु सब बेले देखछि कि मार्केट प्राइस ता गोटे एवरेज रे चलीची. जेतला एवरेज रे चलची ताले मते डिविडेंड भी एवरेज ही मिलिबो, मते इंटरेस्ट भी एवरेज ही मिलिबो, मोर इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रॉफिट भी एवरेज ही रहइबो. बट एक्चुअली कोन होतो ना, मार्केट तारो कंपनी तारा हायर प्रॉफिट टाको शो करू नथिबो टू द मार्केट से तार गोटे एवरेज प्रॉफिट टाको शो करछि जहा द्वारा ताको शेयर जेतले शेयरिंग करिया को पडुछि सेते बेले से कोन करछि ना एवरेज देखि रहि जाउछि एबे ही द कंपनी लाइक जहा नारेटा कंप्लेंट जेतिला आपनकर शॉर्ट सेलिंग ता सेटा हला इन्फोसिस एटा अडॉप्ट करछि प्राइस रेजिंग इन्फोसिस अडॉप्ट करथिला ए जो प्राइस रेजिंग शॉर्ट सेलिंग एगुडा पई कि इवन कंपनीज आर बीइंग पनिश्ड एंड डीलिस्टेड भी जानती सेबी थ्रू सेबी तांको डीलिस्टेड कर दबो इफ इट इज अ सीरियस इशू और सीरियस एलिगेशंस बहुत बड़ बड़ कंपनीज अपन देखुछन कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस मेनली प्राइस रेजिंग और शॉर्ट सेलिंग तक अडॉप्ट करंती so that they could able to gain more benefit out of their investment in this volatile market जेतरे volatility market रो extreme level रे थाए dynamism extreme level रे थाए सेतले catering करिबा बहुत easy थाए you know these companies मान को पाई last one कोची restrictive trading now what is restrictive trading one of the serious grievances of the investors is restrictive trading in the stock exchange through these there are an increase in the turnover of the stock exchange and it is restricted to a few shares only with the top 10 share accounting for about 80% of the turnover and top 100 shares 90% is turnover tamane se kon kochi restrictive trading रे अथरा कंपनी X wants to sell out is 60% shares कंपनी X तार 60% शेयर को सेल आउट करिवो बट से कोन करिवो ना रेस्ट्रिक्टेड कर दबो किए किनिबो सो किनिबा लोकन को से आगुरो प्री आइडेंटिफाई करके रखी छै मिस्टर X ता कंपनी रो प्रोडक्ट यू नो ओपन कला नाउ you 15 people are available in this meeting 15 जण तबे अवेलेबल अच्छा तार कंपनी हेली मु आउ 14 जण अवेलेबल अच्छा ए जो इंटरनेट ए जो मीटिंग रे तो मु कोन करबी ना सिलेक्ट कर देली ए 14 जण को ही बिकिबी फॉर एन एग्जांपल एडवर्टाइजमेंट आसिला तमे किनिबा को चाहूचो एई कंपनी रो प्रोडक्ट किनिया को चाहूचो इन्वेस्टमेंट करियो चाहूचो तमे जेते लॉगिन करियो चेष्टा करिवो इन्वेस्टमेंट करियो चेष्टा करिवो सेरा रेस्ट्रिक्टिव देखेबो तमे किनि परिबोनी तमर ट्रांजैक्शंस होबनी ट्रांजैक्शन टाइम आउट ही जिवो बट एक्चुअल रे से प्रोडक्ट कोन हिची ना जो 15 जण मीटिंग रे अछंती से कंपनी से 15 जण को सिलेक्ट ऑलरेडी करि देछि एंड तको बाय आउट कर सेल आउट कर देछि तमे जेतले देखुछ कि इंटरनेट रे अवेलेबल अछि आर शेयर्स अवेलेबल अछि इट वाज नॉट 100% सेल आउट तमे जेते भी ट्राई करो सेटा तमर इंटरनेट प्रॉब्लम देखेबो या तो फिर ट्रांजैक्शन प्रॉब्लम देखेबो या तो फिर अपन किनि ही परिबे दैट वाज कॉल्ड रेस्ट्रिक्टिव ट्रेडिंग व्हिच इज नाउ बीइंग अडॉप्टेड थ्रू द यू नो आपनकर जो रहउची इंटरनेट बेस्ड कनेक्टिविटीज रहउची ता द्वारा से माने कोन करछन ना restrictive trading करछन which is the major and serious allegation against the stock exchange बुझेला इन्वेस्टर प्रोटेक्शन पढिले लिखि परिबो पिला माने yes or no
yes ma'am
okay thank you अच्छा सेबी रो आधरे कोन काम अछि सेबी आरो दी प्रकार सॉल्यूशन करछि वन इज कॉल्ड कंडक्टिव एनवायरनमेंट सॉल्यूशन आ गोटे करछि इन्वेस्टर प्रोटेक्शन एंड एजुकेशन नाउ कंडक्टिव मेजर्स कोन कंडक्टिव मेजर्स हला ए जो आपनकर सब यू नो रहउची 5-6 टा डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ फैक्टर्स रहउची ताको से कंट्रोल करछि लाइक प्राइस रेजिंग इनसाइडर ट्रेडिंग एक्सेसिव स्पेकुलेशंस लैक ऑफ ट्रांसपेरेंसी शॉर्ट सेलिंग और रेस्ट्रिक्टिव ट्रेडिंग ए जो 6 टा आपनकर फैक्टर्स रहउची ताको कंडक्टिव मेजर्स थ्रू रे सेबी कोन करछि रेस्ट्रिक्टिव करछि नाउ हाउ एंड व्हाट इज कंडक्टिव मेजर्स conductive measures hela conductive environment SEBI is aimed to create a proper conductive environment for raising money from the capital market through the rules regulation and trade practices joti ke there are certain guidelines which is being developed by the SEBI to make the protection to the investors in a proper way so that was called conductive measures jota ki rules regulation jemti ki one of the rule is if the complaint was made against any stockbroker or brokering agency that non-payment of the dividend then if it is not resolved by 15 days the cancel of the license of the individual broker or brokerage house is being cancelled by the SEBI तो लोकंकर गोटे डर रहिबो तो गोटे एजेंसी रो डर रहिबो गोटे ब्रोकरेज हाउस रो डर रहिबो that if we will adopt certain things like price raising or some things like your payout listed people's jadi mu eguda karuchi then I may be penalized by the punished by the SEBI. Second, investor protection kamo karuchi kono SEBI, that is called investor protection and education. So time to time the the ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ SEBI ରହୁଛି time to time he could able to create some promissory activity through which they could identify certain kind of programs through which the investor get protected, the investor feel highly protective under this kind of education system. So education system है कौन जेमती कि एटा मूवी I was experienced when there is going on your COVID time. In COVID time, so investor protection I was learned in the during this COVID time. तमने भी इटा करी परिबो when you just registered yourself under SEBI as a customer education खाली गोटे आपन को registration करियो पड़िबो then whatever customer protection activities are being conducted by the SEBI you could able to identify it. It will came to your mail ID. There is no fees required by SEBI. Asked by SEBI. आपण सब जाको webinar directly access करी परिबे. And in that way you could able to prominently learn how to or what is SEBI and about the investor protection, about the various pro and cons of SEBI. आपण SEBI रो विभिन्न जिंस विषय you could got educated. So in this is two measures through which SEBI investor protection करूछ. बुझिला पिला माने?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tomorrow we will talk about the next chapter. Next chapter रे हमें पढ़िबा तमरो third chapter ता start करिबा, that was your different type of stock market अच्छी trading and settlement, book building process. ये तीनटा पढ़ले तमरो third unit will cover, right? So we'll start tomorrow third unit. Okay, thank you. Sir is already there and sir will join. I'm taking leave from all of you. Kali टिके time रे पिला माने join करि दिबो so that we will conduct the class at the sharp time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, all of you.
Very good morning, sir.
I got only one good morning. I know must be very hectic back-to-back classes. So what happened today? Only 16 participants, and out of that, I am there also. Okay, so it will be around 15 participants. What happened because of Roger? Hello.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, okay. तो झियो माने आज के आस पर नथी वे बोधे झियो मान करो
Maybe.
anyway, that's a part of our socio-cultural activities, which is very essential. And in management, we used to say that all sort of these activities has to be celebrated, so that so far as the employees context is concerned, so that they will get some relaxation and come back to the workplace with a fresh mindset, fresh motive, fresh attitude, everything fresh. So they can contribute their best. Anyway, so let me share the screen, the PPT. And I think I'm there. I think yes, yes, yes.
सर लास्ट क्लास जो म्यूचुअल फंड पढ़ाइଥିଲେ तार स्लाइड टा ଦେଇଥିଲେ କି सर
ମୁଁ ଦେଇନି ମୋର କାଇଁ ମନେ ନାହିଁ ହଁ ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଥିବି
ନା
ସେ ଯୋଉ ଯାହାକୁ ପଠାଏ ଭବାନୀ ବାବୁ ନା I'll check.
सर
ନା
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ସେଟା
sir,
ପଠେଇ
ଖબર
ନଥିଲେ
ନାହିଁ।
ମ୍ୟୁଚୁଆଲ ଫଣ୍ଡ ଟା ପଠେଇ ନଥିଲେ ଭାଇ ସାର୍
ପଠେଇନି ମତେ ଟିକେ ସବୁବେଳେ ରିମାଇଣ୍ଡର ମାରିଦେବେ ହଁ
ଠିକ ଅଛି
ଟିକେ
ସାର୍ ଠିକ
ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ରହିଯାଉଛି ମୁଁ ଆଜି
Thank you.
ପଠେଇ ଦଉଛି ଦିଟା
Thank you,
ମେସେଜ
sir.
So I think you can see, one second. So, I think you can see the PowerPoint presentation now. Is it visible to all of you? Everyone,
Yes, sir.
okay, let us start today's session. As of now, we have already discussed first chapter, it was on financial services. Second, it was merchant banking. Third, we discussed mutual fund. And today is the fourth class, that is venture capital. And today is the fifth class. Yes, fifth class. And we are at the fourth chapter. Anyway. So friends, we discuss in financial services as well as in merchant banking that as when there is a requirement for the companies to generate the capital, I hope you must be knowing about different types of capital. And we generally say ownership capital and borrowed capital. As I was talking to you, that capital is a liability for the company. It comes on the liability side because the company has to repay to their owners, to their shareholders. So equity shareholders are the owners of the company. There are other formats of generating capital or finance, that is debt capital, preference capital. There is another we called retained earning that I told in previous classes, that how to generate the capital. What are the different sources of generation of the capital? So what is the necessity of discussing this another capital which is related to venture, right? Technically, when we studied financial management paper, there we studied the structure of the capital. The structure of the capital is defined or classified into two approach. If I put it in all in one basket of equity, but because in equity it comes equity shares, preference shares, and retained earnings. So we consider all are equity, and rest is the debt, loan, debenture, or bond, whatever things we call. So technically we call there are two types of capital or structure of the capital can be classified as debt capital and equity capital. Okay, in debt capital, we are supposed to pay the interest to the investors, and in equity capital, we are supposed to pay the dividends when the company makes the profit. But when we talk about the merchant banking division, we understood that to generate the funds from the public, we need some expert, some specialized people. हमको दरकार है कौन पाई? Company owners may be from different backgrounds, but he may not have adequate knowledge how to monitor, how to generate the funds from the public in the form of initial public offerings. तो आमे कहूचे कैपिटल जदि हमर दुई प्रकार गोटे डेट कैपिटल एंड गोटे इक्विटी कैपिटल आउ ई कैपिटल को जनरेट करया पई हेले हमको गोटे लीड मैनेजर्स दरकार हुए जो माने आछंती मर्चेंट बैंकिंग डिवीजन अंडर. So SEBI guidelines कहूची जे you have to appoint, you means the company, a lead manager or merchant banker आपनकर पब्लिक इश्यू को मॉनिटरिंग करया पई. So the गोटे लंबा लाइन दे के हमको काम करया पड़ियो टू गो फॉर ए IPO, इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफरिंग. बहुत कष्टिया काम. कौन काम? हमको गोटे लीड मैनेजर अपॉइंट करया पड़ियो, हमको गोटे अंडरराइटर्स अपॉइंट करया पड़ियो, बैंकर्स टू द इश्यू अपॉइंटमेंट करि बारे पड़ियो, register and transfer agent सब गुड़ा को appointment करिवो पड़िवो 1 2 सेबी रे गोटे लंबा एकदम 100 पेज खंड हबो द गाइडलाइंस अछि ताकू भी मते फुलफिल करिया पड़िवो बहुत paraphernalia we need to maintain to go for IPO. This is generally not possible for all type of companies, right? So if a startup is there is a private limited company, a startup or small companies, they may not follow all these guidelines. Sometimes it is not possible also. Startup है तो बिल्कुल possible नहीं. तो से पैसा को उठाने capital को उठाने because public को से empty processor जाए कि आने परिवनी bank loan, of course that's not that easy to get the loan. You need to have a viability and the project viability analysis has to be done. That is a tedious affair. So for them, the next step or next door is open to knock is the venture capital, right? So that is what today we are going to discuss. So one of the essential prerequisites for the setting of an industrial enterprise, what? Timely and adequate availability of finance. Two things is timely as well as adequate. Why timely? Not necessarily for all the fixed expenses, or we call capex, capital expenses. We also need the short-term expenses, maybe we call working capital management. So ame कहू ताकू जे बाबा गरम पानी बसिची जे चाउल किणिकी आण पकेले भात हबो. No, that should not be the approach. The approach is that you need to maintain a adequate inventory, adequate stock management analysis. Ajpai you must have a stock. Again, when you come to the tomorrow, you need to have adequate stocks also. So that analysis is badly needed. So more about a student got a project korthula Galaxy Medicare Limited. It's a division of Alpha Transformer in Manchester, Bhubaneswar. Mutaku observe karuthili that there is a strong linkage between, it has to be established between store, purchase department, production department, creditors. এই চারটা ভিতরে তাকে আমি কହୁଛୁ of course debtor also is ରହିବ, accounts payable, accounts receivable ଜିନିଷ ରହୁଛି. ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାକିରେ ଜିନିଷ ଆଣୁଛୁ we maintain one account that's called accounts payable. ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାକିରେ ଦଉଛୁ customer କୁ ଯୋଉ ପଇସାଟା ଆମକୁ ପାଇବାର ଅଛି, they are considered as the debtor and we maintain an account that's called accounts receivable. So each charter department, charter panchta department sangre, there must be a strong synchronization so that adequate stock for the raw materials of the inventories has to be maintained. Okay. So that is very essential, that timely and adequate once you have finance. So here there is a role of finance department. So the finance department will check, the purchase department will check, the store department will check, not only their individual department, samane other taku am kochu functional relationship. They need to have proper functional relationship. Kette paisa achi kon achi taku jana darkar. If there is shortage of money or shortage of capital, then what sort of action has to be initiated? Because every time you cannot get credit percentage body gale apan asubidha hoibo. So need to check the debtors. So they need a timely and adequately availability of finance so that we can meet the requirement for the purchase of raw materials as well as for that they should not hamper to to the production process. Any cost rate, there was an issue a long back, of course, with RSP or steel plants. Raw material baharu, it was delayed. Even that was the same thing. It was happened with the Nalco. बहुत दिन हेलानी खबर कागज just पढ़िଥିଲି. There are some issues. So we need to have adequate finance as well as adequate inventory so that we can smoothly monitor our production process. So timely and adequately need of finance is badly required. These problems becomes more acute when an entrepreneur is a new and he is also unknown technocrats who possesses innovative ideas. Like startups, they used to come up with many innovative ideas to develop a new product, but lack his own capital, which is essential to turn his our ideas into a successful commercial ventures. I may have lot of ideas. Startup bola kette noa prakar jinsa korchunti. I have come across with some of the startup companies. It Bhubaneswar bhi amaro achi gote startup office achi Infocity pakere. Those who have some new ideas, you can go and talk to them. They will guide you, they will support you. Of course, immediately you will not get the finance. You have to successfully run for few years, then subsequently you will get the seeds capital and other things. So these ideas, okay, only keeping ideas is not enough. For that, finance is required. So finance required for such purpose is more risky in nature because the innovative ideas of the entrepreneur have not been tried on a commercial scale. We need to have a project analysis. There need to be a study of project viabilities. आम जो capital budgeting पढ़ुले सेतले आम कहतुले को प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ट हम ए बी सी डी 4-5 प्रोजेक्ट जे कोटा बेस्ट हम केमती आम जानिबा को प्रोजेक्ट भल हम के कहि परिबो आपण मानक भितरु आपण सब पढ़ी थिबे को प्रोजेक्ट भल हम आम केमती जानिबा आमे केते बडे टेक्निक्स यूज करू कौन से टेक्निक्स टेक्निक भूली जाइए नेट कहले मन पड़ जो नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू एनपीवी आईआरआर इंटरनल रेट ऑफ रिटर्न एबे टिके मन पड़ो आपन प्रॉफिटेबल इंडेक्स सो पढ़ी थे एटा आरओआई रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट से मु सब बेले पिला मन कुए जे आपण माने जे कोनसी पाठ पढुचंती सब बेले आरओआई को हिसाब करिवे कोन आरओआई रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट आपण जो इन्वेस्टमेंट कले तार रिटर्न कोन पाइल ज्ञान केते नेले खाली एडमिशन करले हबनी और डिग्री टे नहीं गले भी हबनी इट्स ऑफ नो वैल्यू ओनली इंते डिग्री हजार हजार लाख लाख पिले धरि की बात चल बट knowledge adequate knowledge so se dita word apun ko atli timely and adequately availability kon finance or knowledge or whatever things they need to have a commercial scale. The viability of the project will be understood by using different techniques, different methods. Okay. Our initial outlay kete, initial outflow kete, mate lakhe tanga investment kariar achi. Mo inflows guda ko kemiti asibo. That also I need to check from the day one before starting my setup. Anyway. But these are the certain things ways you know. So on the other hand, if the venture proves successful, the entrepreneur's ideas are proved successful, it has potential for a high return. Usual sources of finance cannot be tapped by the entrepreneur. What? For lack of availability of funds from his own sources. Right? In such circumstances, venture capitalist comes to his rescue. Venture capitalist comes to support by providing risk-bearing capital which is widely known as venture capital. That's what our today's topic. So this venture capital may be broadly defined as long-term investment in business, which has potential for significant growth and financial return. This is usually provided in the form of equity apart from conditional loans and conventional loans. Venture capitalist is thus not a financier only, but bears the risk as well. His return from the enterprise depend on the extent of the success achieved by them. So they are not just mere provider of the finance. They also participate how the company should earn profit so that they will also get the benefit. These are the few things you can see. Is it visible to all of you? At least someone should yes say yes. I can't see you.
Yes, sir.
ଆପଣ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଶୁଣୁଛନ୍ତି ତ ବୋର ହେଇଗଲେଣି?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir. Sir. Yes, sir.
back to back class ରେ ବୋର ହେଇଗଲେଣି ନା କଣ? ମଝିରେ ମଝିରେ ଟିକେ କହିବେ ନା, ନହେଲେ ମୁଁ ବି ଡିମୋଟିଭେଟେଡ ହେଇ ଖାଲି ଗପୁଥିବି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir.
ମାଷ୍ଟରଙ୍କ କାମ ହେଲା ଗପିବା, କାନ୍ଥ ବାଡକୁ ଦେଖିକି ଗପିଲେ ଓ ଯାହା ପାଥେଟିକ ଅନଲାଇନ ରେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ବି କଣ ସେଇ କଷ୍ଟ ବି ପାଉଥିବେ। The same reciprocation must be done. Anyway, so we don't have other means other than this, but my sincere request to all of you that please remember this ROI, the return on investment. केमती calculation हबो के कोइ परिबो? How to calculate the हम सब कहूछु तार दि तीन प्रकार ना अछि, अकाउंटिंग रेट ऑफ रिटर्न, एवरेज रेट ऑफ रिटर्न, सब कथा ना रेट ऑफ रिटर्न कथा होछि, केमते हम हिसाब करबा के कहबेनी एबे के कहबेनी
Present worth,
Again?
future worth और present worth को compare करी।
अच्छा ओके प्रेजेंट फ्यूचर आपण मन को गोटे पढ़ाई थी फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट आपण पढ़िया दरकार गोटे पढ़ाई थी गोटे छोटिया फार्मूला आपण टिके कहि देले मन पड़ जियो P1 - P0 डिवाइड बाय P0 पढ़ाइतला एटा हम क्लास 5 रे पढ़थुलु प्रेजेंट माइनस प्रीवियस डिवाइड बाय प्रीवियस अच्छा चलो सेतरे हम ग्रोथ जतले हिसाब करतु हम केते ग्रोथ कोले हम देखला एनीवे ए जो स्लाइड्स ता मु आपण देखौची यू कैन सी हियर ओयो को जानथिबे ओयो रो के ओनर के हमर रायगडा रो पिलाटी जदियो ओडिया नो बट ओडिसा रो से बॉर्न एंड ब्रॉट अप एठी के आ गया ओयो रो रितेश अग्रवाल वेरी गुड हम एटलीस्ट ताकु टिके मन रखया दरकार राइट अच्छा so ये जो companies गुड़ाको I thought to show you that Oyo has taken $1,500 million from RA Hospitality and SoftBank. Investors are venture capitalists. Paytm आपण माने सब ट्रांजैक्शन करूथे हमें तार क्यूआर कोड स्कैन करछु बहुत जिंस करछु आपन भीतर बहुत जन कर पेटीएम बैंक अकाउंट भी थिबो पेटीएम रो स्टॉक प्राइस को देखिवे भी देखछन सब जहां आसुची सकाळ उठुची इंती आपण सब जिंस रो स्टॉक प्राइस को देखते कोलगेट टू नेकी कि सेंसोडाइन की जहां भी आपण घसचंती से ब्रश को नेकी रात्रि रे सोया पर्यंत गुड नाइट से जहां भी अच्छी खोजबे तार स्टॉक प्राइस अच्छी कि जदी नाही त हमसे पब्लिक इशू को आसीबे तो सब बळे देखते पेटीएम को देला के टी रोड प्राइस एंड सॉफ्ट बैंक एंड अलीबाबा बहुत दोच फंडिंग्स then comes Udan, this comes $585 million. गोटाई फ्री बोली कहउछंती also शॉर्ट बैंक बहुत जन ताको इन्वेस्टमेंट करछन आ गोटे म आपण देखौची हमरी रिलेटेड अबे ता कुछ एडुटेक्स बाइजू क्रिकेट खेल हला माने आगो बाइजू को देखिए बाइजू Baiju Ravindran. Baiju Ravindran, very young chap, से दिथर 100 percentile score करथिले CAT examination. So that inspired him to start one organization, Baiju classes. Right? You can see here, मतलब basic somewhere west corner. On academy also, right? His competitors, you can see कते पैसा सब नहीं चलती, को year रे नहीं चलती, बहुत जोरे पैसा नहीं चलती. काटू नहीं चलती, venture capitalist नहीं चलती. They are the investors, right? Out it you can see the funds raised. It was in the 2020. Upper man jadi 22 रो पाइबे 23 तो पाइबे नहीं बे 23 तो data mo packet thila. You can see that can the funds over raise through this so the sector wise how it is going, higher education, code learning, language learning. Amaro out it top 9 venture capitalist firm in India. एमान सब अछंती एबे बहुत अच्छी गलानी. These are the top 9 firms बने अछंती. बाकी you can get this information. Registered foreign venture capital your website हम अपन को देखो छी अपन देखि परिबे सेतले they have to register with the SEBI and they need to follow the guidelines. मोइटा एथ पे देखुची दैट आपण पढिबा भीतर भी जानि परिबे वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट खाली कहि देला बनी हमको जानिया दरकार के वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट अछंती. ओके नाउ विल गो फॉर हमें जिबा हम पाठ को distinguishing features for the venture capitalist, right? So venture capital can be distinguished from other forms of finance on the basis of its special characteristics, which are as follows. As follows means, so these are the points, bullet points I like to discuss. Upon concept which is equity participation, equity percent with the for a new organization or a startup organization for a small organization. So I make to percent venture capitalist, right? I would achieve angel investors set up achieve the पड़ेगा. So आमे कहा को जाई परिवा we knock the door of the venture capitalists. सेमाने का invest करिवे, that's the important point. सेमाने एत पे invest करंती तांकर सेठी सेमाने जो लोन ता नियंती सेटे बहुत कम परसेंट जो इशू टा एबे फेडरल रिजर्व आकर आमर जंती इंडिया रे रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया RBI अछि US रे अछि फेड रिजर्व तक वजह फेडरल रिजर्व तांकर they have a big issue so far as debt financing is concerned. Interest तांकर बढ़ुची बड़ी की भी से बहुत कम थिबो. चाइना फाइनारे से माने 1% 1.5% इंटरेस्ट चार्ज करंती if you want to take the loan. So आपण सेटू कम रे लोन आन की इंडिया रे डंप करंतु, right? Suppose 2% रे भी जदि उठौचंती इंडियन मार्केट रे आपण जदि 5% भी आपण डंप करले आपनकर कैपिटल घरे बसी बसी की 3% आपण पाइले. If you put extra effort for the development of the company and if the company makes profit, you are the man who is going to get more benefit. आपण बुझी पाछन तो वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट कोन, right? So कल सकाळे मु जति गटे कंपनी आरंभ करबी, so I'll knock the door of all the students of DDC भैया कुछ पैसा दे दे. And for them आमी जंती सकाळो हमकु जने डाकचंती मा गटे पैसा दियो बिक दियो कहउचंती. So we never bothered even to pay up to 5 rupees or 10 rupees. हमें टंके दिटा तो एमती माइंड करू ना. दिल्ली फैली रे मु देखी छी से फेरांती नहीं बेले मु जाए सपोज आपनकर पैसा हला 6 टका हला आपन 10 टका देले से 4 टका फेरेबन. जदि आमे तो ओडिया लोक आमे अने थुकरे दउनु से सेटु कहबो क्या आप दिल्ली का नहीं है बोल तोर को वाला मुदे ने कहली तो तोर को वाला you have to return na children god पहला चेंज टाकू तो कौन दिसे कहला से जाट लोग कहला यहाँ चलता नहीं है. मैं कहले भाई इसका भी कोई वैल्यू है, तू पढ़ा मत नहीं तो मेरे को 5 रुपया रिटर्न कर. तो तापर कहला कि मत मेरे को 1 रुपया दे. मैं कहले मेरे पास है हम तो ओडिया लगो ना सब चेंज धरी बोलचू ये सब सिस्टम रे we need to be adjust and we need to be. These are very interesting things. Kire paisa फेरेबुनी कोन 4 टंगा कम हेलानी 4 टंगा रे हमर दीटा गुपचुप हे जो हमर मैडम माने जियो माने अछंती गुपचुप खाउतबे सो मु से गुपचुप वाला देखले हाथटा देखते सब हां छड़ा कहले अपन खाइबेनी खांदो. So the most distinguishing feature of venture capital is that it provided largely in the form of equity when the investee company is unable to float its equity shares independently in the market or from other sources in the initial states. Okay. So it provides largely in the form of equity when we are not able, they are not in a position to generate or the float. I mean, initial stage. So risk capital is provided. I used a term here, risk capital. That means I am ready to take the risk and would like to invest and convert into a profit capital. So risk capital is provided, which is not available. High degree of risk involved in the venture. This is what the first point, the distinguishing feature. What? We cannot float the equity, we can generate the funds through the venture capitalist, number one. Number two, it doesn't intend to act as the owner of the enterprise, right? So the venture capitalist, though participate in the equity, doesn't intend to act as the owner of the enterprise. He is not going to be establish his status as an owner like other equity shareholders. The venture capitalist doesn't participate in the day-to-day management, but aids and they guides the management by providing the benefit of his skills, experience, and expertise, right? As well as he nurture new enterprise till it earns the profit earning stage. So mu apan jetale paisa dauchi mu to khali de de ki ghare bas jibini. I need to also, although I don't have anything to say about your day-to-day activity, but as I'm having capital, I do have a lot of exposure and experience and expertise skills are there, so I can support you. Hey, Baba, apankara ei problem hochi, you can go like this, you can follow this, the market upare, because everything boils down to sales. Upon the leverage chapter portfolio, sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost is your operating profit. That is what we call EBIT, earning before interest and taxes, right? So sales jadi badibo, my operating profit will increase. But jate operating profit badibo, jadi loan anichi, I'll be comfortable to repay the interest. EBIT, हम तक operating profit. EBIT to I बाहर कर दवा. I माने interest दे दवा. पहले कौन EBT. तापर किए मांगियो पैसा interest दे दला. First responsibility for a company is to repay. कौन दवो ना interest आगो दे दो. तापर किए तापर government धरिवा हम दे. बाबा तुम बहुत income कलनी tax दियो. So EBIT रो I पड़ेतला तापर tax पड़ेला. तापर क्या सिवे तापर preference shareholders जति किछि अछंती PD. My name is PD Das, Pragyan Das. So people used to say preference shareholder has come to claim for the dividend. So that's what we call PD, a preference dividend, right? तापर जहाँ बोलिला सेटा को हम कहूँ PAT, profit after tax, right? ताको हम कौन करूँ ना divide by number of shares, outstanding shares हम जब divide कर देले हमको मिल जियो कौन मिल जियो ना EPS मिल जियो earning per share. सेटा हो जी equity shareholder बांटी की नहीं जियो, right? So even though that's what I said, even though it doesn't act as the owner, but it participates in day-to-day activities because it possesses experience, expertise, knowledge, and exposure for till the company generate a profit. then it doesn't intend to retain his investment in the investing company forever, right? Time both compound. So, it doesn't mean that he will be remain with the company for the lifetime. No, it's not forever. He has invested for a certain time, right? And he will get back. It intends to earn largely by way of capital gain arising out of sale of his equity holding. Capital gain the capital gain, capital loss, capital appreciation. Yes, anyway, these are the good terms. Capital gain man kon. Suppose आपण माने stocks किणुथिबे, suppose मु 100 टंका रे किनिली and बिक्री कली, suppose 200 टंका रे बिक्री कली. So this 100 rupees is my capital gain. Number of shares संगे multiply कर दले, so I'll get a capital gain. Plus जोटा मोर rights अच्छी, मोर rights का dividend is my rights. Suppose 10% dividend the company has declared. As you know, as per the principle, the dividends are paid on the face value of the company. Right? Suppose face value is 100, then 10% of 100 is equal to 10 rupees. तामाने सेटा 10 टंका रहउची मोर rights. तो सेपटे मु केतळे गेन करछि, केतेन गेन कैपिटल गेन करछि ना 100 rupees gain करछि. 100 rupees plus dividend 10 rupees. So 110 rupees my return I wish to generate. Okay. So it intends to earn largely by way of capital gain. It also provides conditional loans. Right? Conditional loans support also, not necessarily in the capital equity participation, they also participate in the debt participation or that in particular loans. These are the few advantages. Raising huge capital we can generate. We have seen the Voyo, Paytm, on academy, Waizu, both right? A huge capital can be generated. As because of they have got expertise, knowledge, skills, they can advise and the guide, they can provide a proper guidance to the company. There is no system called monthly installment. No, that's not that. So as and when there is a requirement of additional funding, so they also provide. So there is no need of collateral securities. Study loan bank ko jota gure am pilaman janti sir bank do ni bol kuru 100 ta document mage are tu ek sign ko nahi se 100 ta document mage ko collateral securities diyo kon तमरो गाँ रे जमी अछि आगे अछि जमी पटाणी तो आउ कोन अछि तम बापा कोन कोछ बापा या बिजनेस करछन तांका 3 वर्ष आईटी रिटर्न दे अनल जदि बापा जदि गवर्नमेंट चाकरी करछन तांकर की कोठी जॉब करछन तांकर सैलरी स्लिप आनी दे आउ कोन माइ जो जदि सेटिंग सफिशिएंट न हला इफ द लोन अमाउंट इज हायर अपन जदि इक्वाई यूनिवर्सिटी it is higher, they will ask for another collateral. So these are the collateral security. Why they used to charge, it's a security point. But jo loko PNB ru ki kotu soba se dare baba kontana Vijay Malia koti kottonga nei padele nira padele mane aram se padele India bahar padele अति खुशी रे पड़े पैसा पत्र नहीं खाई खुई की जाई सेठी लंदन रे बुझो दिया मालिया ताकू असुविधा नहीं आप में एटी असुविधा को anyway so that is the procedure we need to follow. Collateral securities, there is no need of collateral securities so far as venture capital. There is an understanding only. It's a building a strong business network. Oh, fantastic! If Alibaba is coming to me, so I can explore his business, the geographical distance wherever they are, I can also explore. Better exposure and publicity, that also another important thing. Risk management and decision making. Although there is not necessity to involve with the day-to-day activities, but they can support, they can guide, they can provide a proper decision so that the company can make profit. Operational assistance and superior leadership. As and when there is a requirement, the company can take. Okay. Now we'll go for different stages of venture. After bore ये सुनुनांती तामानी सुनुचन ता सुनुनांती
Yes, sir.
हाँ मधुरे yes no right कहते so that मते became motivation like कोई चलती है अपन सुन but these are very very important terms. Those who want to make a career in finance sector, these are the certain things. I'm a janitor. Canada, my day-to-day activities. Anyway, now we go for time is very short. हम पर समय नहीं बहुत जल्दी पढ़ोची हम गोटे घंटे का chapter study बच्चे expert एकदम हमें ये chapter गोटे chapter को 5-6 hour होते Okay, anyway, that's not an issue. Now let us look at the stages of venture capital or mode of financing, right? Okay, next stages mode of financing. Okay. Mode of financing, one, equity instruments, if there's an ordinary or the preferential. Debt financing, mostly on the conditional loan, convertibility loan, and conventional loan. This is the facilities that we should follow. Then comes exit route. Initial public offering. Exit route means, suppose if I am now established, I'm established now, I am running 5-6 years, I am competent enough. Then if I go for additional funding of the both Karuchi, and I understood the business, I am now maybe considered as an established organization. I understood the financial nitty-gritties and all. So instead of looking at the venture capitalists, I can go for IPOs, mutual public offerings, because by the time I'm self-sustained to go ahead for the activities. So what is the exit route to get rid from this venture capitals? The next step is I can go for IPOs or buyback of shares by the promoters. Whatever investment it has been made by the venture capitalists, I can purchase, I can take over those shares and sell off an enterprise to another company. If I am done with this, then I would also like to dispose of my company to another company, sell to new venture capitalists. So if this is not enough, there are certain points only to know the exit route. I can also hand it over to a bigger party. If I am looking with a small party, I can hand it over to the bigger party. Self-liquidating process. Something. How I am planning for any other activities, I can liquidate that also. The liquidating of the investing company, that is the winding up business. There are regulatory frameworks, right? Regulatory frameworks. In 1900, the control of CCI, Government of India, it was then in 1988. Subsequently, SEBI in 1995 was amended, which was empowered by SEBI to register and regulate the venture capital funds in India. Subsequently, in December 1996, SEBI issued its regulations in this regard. So these regulations replace the government of guidelines issued earlier and the SEBI guidelines as amended in 2000 also. So far as SEBI Foreign Venture Capital Investment Regulation Act 2000 is concerned, that the investment in venture capital funds or venture capital undertakings in India can also be made by foreign venture capital investment, and so many regulations it has come up. To regulate such investors, SEBI issued the above mentioned regulation in the year 2000. And there are few silent features how to register, what are the modalities, right? For it's for foreign venture capitalists, because we need to follow the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, we call FERA, and other things are there. So that registration, how they will do, what will their investment criteria, and what is the power of SEBI so far as this controlling of foreign venture capitalists are concerned. There is a guidelines, it has come up in 2000, and there is also related to the tax exemptions under clause 23F of the section 10 of the our Income Tax Act 1995. That also there is a facilities also it is given. You can see the slides. There are venture capital funds in India promoted by all India financial institutions, state level finance institutions, commercial banks, private institutions like foreign and Indian companies are also there. In 2003, there were 43 domestic venture capital funds and 6 foreign capital funds registered with the SEBI. And among them, the commercial banks, many commercial banks has come up. Then ANZ Greenlace Bank set up with the first private sector venture capital funds, namely India Investment Fund, with an initial capital of 10 crores subscribed by the non-resident Indians. So amongst the Indian banks, the subsidiaries of State Bank of India, Canara Bank has also floated venture capital fund. These are the few examples I thought to share you. Gujarat Venture Capital Finance Limited, right? It was established by Gujarat Industrial and Financial Corporation Limited, we called GIAC Limited, in association with the World Bank, is a pioneer in the venture capital funds in India. Because separate about the fund Buluchi, so these people are there. And its investor includes World Bank, then Gujarat Industrial and Incorporate Corporation Industrial Industrial Development Bank of India, we call IDBI. You must be knowing. There is CDC UK, or there is an also Indian that is called SIDBI, Small Industrial Development Bank of India, and many other private sector organizations. This is what Gujarat Venture Capital Finance, its background. There is an ILF and FS Venture Corporation, that are infrastructure leasing and financial services. Upon the Bombay, there are building, ILF is a huge building. So that could be also debt issue. They were not in a position to repay their interest, forget about the principal. So these ups and downs will come, but they were active so far as venture capital is concerned. And it was earlier known as Credit Capital Venture Fund Limited. At present, the company is managing 7 domestic venture capital funds. Then IFB Venture Capital Finance Limited. This company has been promoted by IFB Industry Limited jointly with IDBI and ICICI. There is IFCI, Industrial Finance Corporation of India. Venture capital funds are there, which was established in 1975. So many things it has come up. And now also there is a venture capital fund of IDBI. IDBI has also actively involved that. ICICI Venture Funds Management Company Limited, also SIDBI Venture Capital Limited, Small Industrial Development Bank of India, office. So so here we see in Bhubaneswar also, Rupali Square IDCO Industrial Development Corporation Limited, EPCOL State Finance Corporation halat bahut kharab anta goe sabse bilkul band helan Kottagara office so that's very challenges now, and that is the reason why our Prime Minister and Chief Minister, many state chief ministers, they are going to abroad so that they can generate the funds from the NRIs or the venture capitalists. They should come invest, and so ultimately they are going to get the benefit. Okay, so this is a graph. It shows the venture intelligence and brain sources. I have taken this. The total fund raised by venture capital for investment in India. So there is a source. I have taken this. You can see here the year-wise is fantastic. There is an issue in 2007. Now, anybody can tell me what happened in 2017? 17 re kon asubidha hala je semana paisa invest kale. Je koi paribe 2017 ko kon asubidha hala? गोटे फाइनेंशियल टर्मोइल हेतला हमको बहुत असुविधा हेतला the stock market has gone down, the sensex has gone down, people were panic and so many issues are there. ठीक है, so this I keep it to for you. काली सकाळे आमचे क्लास आरंभ करिवा, someone should tell me that what happened in 2017 so that the venture capitalists are free to invest in the Indian market. Okay, so this is all about the venture capital in nutshell for 1 hour purpose only. There are so many things are there. They used to provide. Suppose if you look at the stages of venture capital, although it is not there in your syllabus, stages you can note down also. There are there are 2 stages. One is early stage of financing and second is the latter stage of financing. ठीक है, लिखी दे था तो early stage of financing. In early stage of financing, starting जो time को जो there is another 3 types. One is seeds capital stage, second is startup stage, third is the second round financing. So there are 2 stages. One is early stage financing, 2 is latter stage financing. In early stage financing, we are having seeds capital stage, startup stage, and second round financing. Okay, different stages. Then in latter stage I mean expansion finance, replacement finance, turnaround, buyout deals. These are the 4 types we consider latter stage. When the business of enterprise is established and it requires additional fund. Setup ho gala, now it's running very nicely, and subsequently he can go for a latter stage. So these are the 2 important stages of venture capital financing. One is early stage, another latter stage. In early stage, we are having seeds capital stage, startup stage, and second round financing. In latter stage, we are having expansion finance, replacement finance, and turnaround as well as buyout deals. So this is all about our discussion. But मते काली क्लास टाइटल कहिबे जे 2017 रे कोन हैला से माने कम इन्वेस्टमेंट कले है गूगल करंतु कि जा करंतु. So this is all about our class. By the time I wind up, you can ask me about on doubts which we are discussing. There is no end to it. बहुत कथा अच्छा है, बहुत अनेक. So that's very important. But हमको पढ़िया पड़ेगा. We have to read articles. यहाँ पे पाठ वही नहीं, यहाँ पे articles पढ़िए. अपन गूगल करिए कि करंट सोर्स हैं. how कौन नुआ important things are. These are all our academics purpose. But what is our knowledge enhancement purpose? That's very important to discuss. Okay. So anything you would like to discuss? Still we are having 5 minutes in hand. जो स्टेज गुड़ा मन रखले के जने कहले आपण भितर स्टेज गुड़ा को आपण कोन देखले खाता पता धरी बसुन तो ना नहीं खाली सुनुसंती तो खाताटे करथिबे. It is advisable to have a separate notebook. There are courses आपण को जदी extra knowledge gain करे आपण चाहउछंती. There is a program called NPTEL. NPTEL is providing support for the further enhancement of the knowledge. It's a government of India program that NPTEL. So they are further knowledge gain करे so it's free of cost. But mostly अपन देखिए quality of teaching like IIT, IIM professors. जदि हमें काटो के पढ़ी पारी ने IIT and here there is an opportunity to learn from them. ସେମାନେ ସେଟା ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ପଢେଇବେ ସେଟା କୁହାଯାଏ NPTEL or MOOC ବି କୁହାଯାଏ or କୁହାଯାଉଛି ସ୍ୱୟଂ ବୋଲି ବି କୁହାଯାଉଛି. Now it has been a compulsory features for all the colleges, regular courses. ସେମାନେ compulsory ତାକୁ ପଢେଇବାକୁ ପଡିବ. NPTEL stands for National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. So if you want to take a certificate, the one young freshers actually, if you want to strengthen your CV, our CV is the additional literature, you can also encash this. So that's very or बहुत दिन से कहो, there are n number of opportunities are to explore your knowledge, research करिए कि क्या करिए. कौन से स्टेजेस गुडा का अपन लिखिले कहले जणे के कहले मैडम की सार की जे भी अछंती जणे कौन गोटे स्टेजेस हम कहली टू इंपोर्टेंट स्टेजेस कौन लिखले अपन कोंतु
अर्ली फाइनेंस और लेटर फाइनेंस अर्ली रे सीड्स कैपिटल स्टार्टअप और सेकंड राउंड फाइनेंस और लेटर जो जी एक्सपेंशन रिप्लेसमेंट टर्न अराउंड और बाइंग.
Oh, very good, fantastic, excellent. So I hope only one is परीक्षा पे नहीं, this is for our knowledge culture कला हम जो startup पे करूँ एटी ओडिशा स्टार्टअप बोली गोटे अच्छी आपनकर एटी इन्फोसिटी छक पाखरे विराट एक बिल्डिंग है किछि जे नुवा आइडिया अछि यू कैन रश टू देम और आल्सो यू कैन टॉक टू सेटा कोन कहउछंती फिकी फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स पाकिस्तान भी कथा करिए एठी हमर अच्छी गोटे यूसीसी उत्कल चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्रीज आपनकर जोटी क्राउन होटल अछि ता पाखे ता साइड रे पछपटे अछि उत्कल चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स अछि देयर आल्सो यू कैन गो कौन सेवन से पार्टिसिपेट एक्टिविटीज करछंती संस्थान भी कथाई करिए यू नीड टू एक्सप्लोर यू नो वैरायटी ऑफ थिंग्स बहुत पिला छुआ माने बहुत बढ़िया काम करछन आई मेट विद अ पर्सन वेरी यंग चैप एकदम छोटा पिला 22 25 25 he has done a startup and see what a website we got krushoko.com and very खुशी लगला every Thursday आजकल तो जाहि every Thursday they used to organize one meet एटा बोका कैफे अछि अपन देखिए जेठी की बही थाई प्लस कॉफी अपन कॉफी पीबे वही पड़िए very भल जगह दे बोका कैफे नेशनल बेस्ट अपन लालचांद ऊपर अछि अपन देखिए सेठी से माने गोटे एवरी थर्सडे रे इवनिंग रे गोटे स्टार्टअप गेट टुगेदर करथिले बहुत पर अटेंड करथिले दे करथन कि नहीं जानि बहुत स्टार्टअप आसंती तांकर इट्स अ वेरी बढ़िया दे यूज्ड टू शेयर दे कैन बी हाउ दे आर स्ट्रगलिंग एंड ऑल मोर गुडे स्टूडेंट भी अछन दे हैव स्टार्टेड द स्टार्टअप्स द अर्ली स्टेज जो कोटली स्टेजेस कोडा the seeds capital से हमें वो जो startup registration करले गवर्नमेंट संख्या में पहुंचा था ना so initial stage is very important struggling stage ताकू हमको प्रूफ करिया पई हम वेंचर कैपिटल कैपिटलिस्ट कर दो anyway session I'll share you my PPTs last term करने भूली जाई and sorry for that I'll share you the mutual fund as well as the venture capital.
भवानी भाई को दे देबे
again
सर भवानी भाई को दे देबे स्लाइड
हां से भवानी बाबू जो अछंती भवानी बाबू अछंती हम ग्रुप रे
हां
आइए सर
अछंती अच्छा भवानी बाबू आपण कोन करंती बाय प्रोफेशन
ना सर मु बे जॉब किछि कोन नहीं मु भी स्टडी
अच्छा ए अच्छा ओके वेरी गुड तो you are our subject representative I can say for the MBA first class right so you mut apan ko pathai debi so you will share right so thank you very much to all of you and wish you all the best good day ଆଉ ପୋଡ଼ ପିଠା ଅଳ୍ପ ଖାଇବେ ଝିଅ ମାନେ ଆମର ଅଛନ୍ତି ପାନ ଫାନ ଆଜି ଖାଇବେ ରଜ ଅଛି